What is up, my friends? Today we are going to break down the 4 main jerkbait rods in the Megabass rod lineup. Now, Megabass is famous for their jerkbait, their Vision OneTen, their Edo Shiners, and they make arguably, in my opinion, the best jerkbait rods on the market. And there are 4 key rods that exist within some of the various lines. So today we are going to break down the best rods in their line, and we're going to talk about which baits they throw the best, why to choose this one over this one, or maybe some of the other ones we're going to talk about. So if you guys are ready to break down Megabass jerkbait rods, let's go.
Welcome to the Hookup Tackle. The Hookup Tackle is the world's largest showcase of Megabass products, featuring baits and colors not found at any other dealer. The Hookup also offers a wide display of OSP, Evergreen, Depths, Lucky Craft, Jackal, and many more. The Hookup Tackle is owned and operated by family, is staffed by guides and verified tackle nerds who love helping anglers elevate their craft. If you're in the Phoenix area, we'd love to have you stop by our showroom and check out the wonderful world of Megabass and the Hookup for yourself. If you shop online, there are almost 10,000 SKUs of Megabass products alone, with hundreds of other companies and new products being added daily. So next time you're looking for that hard to find bait, that color your fish have never seen before, or maybe you just want to elevate your game, look at thehookuptackle.com.
All right, welcome back, guys. I am Ben with the Hookup Tackle, aka the Tackle Otaku on Instagram. Of course, being joined by my buddy Jeffrey the King. What is up, Jeffrey the King?
What's up? You still sound
I am in allergy hell right now.
It's been quite windy lately, eh?
So windy and blooming and warm and beautiful and yeah. So I apologize, but we're talking about a great topic.
Yes, sir.
So if we can get past the sound of my annoying voice, we're going to break down some jerkbait rods. In fact, I'm going to talk about these jerkbait rods.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give them to you, and you're going to go use them.
To me?
How's that sound?
Okay. Yeah,
Because
I like using stuff.
Yeah. So let's break this down. So we were kind of joking around a little bit earlier, right? That if you're a broke dick fisherman like that guy, you're just gonna have one jerkbait rod, right? But if you're a super bougie jerkbait fisherman, you need at least 4.
Reasonable.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So here's the scoop. You know, jerkbait rods are something that we get asked about a lot, right? Because obviously this is a technique that is super fun to throw, catches fish, you know, year round in most places, but it's one of those rods that really, you kind of need the right rod for it. It's not one of those kind of afterthought techniques, because if you get the wrong rod, if the rod is too soft, it wobbles too much, you wear yourself out. If it's too stiff, you're pulling the hooks out of the fish's mouth, right? So there's like this perfect blend of softness and fastness so that you're able to fish efficiently all day without wearing out your arm, you know, from all the twitching and jerking and ripping that you're going to do. And, you know, enough softness to where, you know, when you've got treble hooks and it's hooked on the outside of a fish's mouth, that it can absorb some of that shock and actually land those fish. Now, Megabass makes some amazing jerkbait rods. So we're going to break down the 4 key models in the Megabass line so that it makes sense as to why, you know, why do you get a 110 stick versus a jerkbait special? Or why do you get a Valkyrie over a jerkbait special, right? So we are going to break these down, talk about what I love about them. I'm going to give them to you guys. You guys are going to go out on the water and use them and hopefully shed some light on what makes these rods so good and how they fit in. So, you know, you can microanalyze this the same way you would microanalyze a swim bait, right? You wouldn't have one swim bait rod.
No,
I mean, you could, right? You
yeah.
could have one swim bait rod and go do a bunch of swim bait stuff,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, if you're just getting started in swim baits, you grab one rod and you try to do as many things as you can on it. The deeper down the rabbit hole you go, the more you're going to look for this specific taper or power for this type of bait, right? This specific taper and power for this type of bait. And you're gonna micro dissect and fine tune your gear.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the same thing we're talking about here. I was being a little silly when I said you got to be a broke dick to have one, but bougie if you have 4, right? But really, if jerkbaits are something that you dive into, you are going to kind of micro dissect your rods the same way you would with a crankbait rod, a jig and worm rod, so on and so forth, right? So that's what our attempt is here. So I'm holding the Destroyer P5 110 stick, right? Because this is my favorite jerkbait rod. So I love this jerkbait rod. It took me a while to love it, but now that I have used it for 2 years, I just can't get away from it. So I'm gonna start here because this is my standard, okay? So in Megabass Destroyer P5, that is going to be kind of their flagship line, right? The 110 stick, just to break it down for you guys, this is an F4, okay? So Megabass doesn't usually do like medium, heavy, heavy, right? They do kind of an F rating in their system. So it's an F4 6.5. So it's a 6 foot 5 inch jerkbait rod. Now, this rod replaced the 110 Special that used to be in the Destroyer line, right? That was 6'11". So when this rod shrunk 6 inches, it shocked a lot of people, right? Now, what this rod does better than the longer version is because it's shorter, everything happens so much faster with this rod. Your movement happens faster. The sensitivity on this rod is sky high. I would say maybe even the most sensitive rod in the entire P5 line, even above some of the bottom contact rods. So it's light. It doesn't weigh anything. You can put a tiny little reel like a Stee CT or something that doesn't weigh anything, and you can literally fish this rod all day effortless, right? When the rod bends, because it's P5, it can be fast at the tip, right? But it can also bend deep through the blank to absorb all of that shock when those fish are, shaking and pulling. And you're gonna need a rod that has that. So it's the perfect blend. Now for me, this rod is perfect for 110 size stuff and down. But really for me, 110 size stuff. I find that it throws the 110, the 110 plus one, maybe even the 110 plus one junior. That's really in the wheelhouse of this guy. Now the rating, it's 1/4 to 3/4. So in theory, it should be able to throw all the way down to even like an ex-Nanahan, right? And all the way up to almost a Kanata, right? But really, if you're looking for what this rod does the best, it's 110 size stuff. It can throw the junior, you can throw the 110, you can throw the plus one. When you get to the plus two, it can certainly manage it. It starts getting a little bit bogged down on the plus two, but it can certainly do it. But if you guys are throwing the 110 plus one, 110 plus one junior, the junior, this is just such a sick rod. It takes a little bit to get used to because it's short, but it's amazing. Now, the traditional rod in the Megabass line has been the 110 Special or the Jerkbait Special. Basically the same rod, okay? So the 110 Special will come back in P5 next year, right? So now, this time next year, we'll have two 110 sticks, so we have our choice of a short or a long. But for now, in Orochi and in Levante, they make a Jerkbait Special. Now this is gonna be the 611, it's an F4.5, so it's an F4.5 611. So it's a little bit more powerful, a little bit more strength than the 110 stick, right? It's 611, so you're gonna get 6 extra inches of rod. So why choose this one over that one, or what does this one do differently than the 110 stick does? So one of the advantages of having a longer rod is you're gonna get more line pickup, right? So you're gonna get more sweep, you're gonna get a little bit better distance cast out of it. So if you're fishing super big water and having that longer rod to really maximize cast or really maximize sweep, 6 inches at the end of the rod times a whole body sweep is a lot of line that it picks up, right? So there are some advantages to it. Now, I will tell you, Jeff and I have had this little 6'5" 110 stick all over the country and on Great Lakes. We've been on Lake Huron, we've been on Lake Ontario, we've been in all kinds of places, huge water, huge long casts. I've never missed the length,
No.
right? So it's so sensitive that you just feel everything so fast. I've never missed it. But this guy is designed for throwing the 110 and up. Okay, so the Orochi Jerkbait Special is going to be great for throwing things like a 110, a +1, a +2, an Ito Shiner. If you're using other brands like a Varuna 110, it's great. A Pointer 100, it's great. So anything that's a little bit bulkier, that requires a little bit more push, right? When you're twitching a 110, the lips are very thin. So it doesn't require a lot of power. You're really just kind of tapping the slack as you're twitching, and that lip is doing what it's designed to do. When you're pulling against, say, a Pointer 100 or an Ito Shiner, the lip is thicker and it requires a little bit more muscle to kind of get that bait to move and to flex. And that's where the Jerkbait Special can come in. Now, the Jerkbait Special is also an amazing walking topwater bait rod. So, a lot of times guys are looking for a rod that can do multiple things, a jerkbait and a walking topwater bait. And this would be an excellent, excellent choice for that. The only thing I will caution you is usually you're gonna want some kind of fluorocarbon for your jerkbait and some kind of monofilament or braid for your topwater. So you're gonna have this dilemma of, well, what line do I put on it, right? That's the challenge with having one rod to do both of those things. But if you were going to get one rod to do both those things, this would be an excellent choice. Now in Levante, this rod is a little bit softer. So this rod would be better in Levante for doing 110 and down, and in Orochi, 110 and up, okay? So another solid option. I love it for just throwing these just slightly bigger, slightly heavier baits than a 110. There are two other rods to talk about that are in the Valkyrie line. Now, we don't talk about the Valkyrie as much. There's some key models that we talk about quite a bit, but Valkyrie is a very interesting line within the Megabass world. All of the Valkyrie rods are going to be glass carbon composites. So the first two that we just talked about, the 110 stick and Jerkbait Special, those are graphite rods, right? So now we're getting into glass rods that are a combination of glass and carbon. So they are going to be a little bit heavier in weight, right? They're going to be a lot stronger. There's a lot of power to these rods. And because they're glass, they're going to have a little slower bend to it and a little slower movement to it. It's not going to be quite as crisp as those first two. Now, there's two rods in this line that are really designed for throwing jerkbaits. The first one is one that I use all the time. This is the 6.6 Medium Plus. Okay, now the lure rating is the same as the ones we just covered, 1/4 to 3/4, right? But because this rod is built the way it's built, it's really strong and it's perfect for bigger size jerkbaits beyond the 110. So for me, like, this is my go-to Ito Shiner rod. So I talk about the Ito Shiner a lot. I throw the Ito Shiner a lot. If I'm throwing the Shiner, it's almost always going on the 6.6 Medium Plus. If you guys are throwing Pointer 100s, Pointer 128s, Slender 127, some of those longer, bigger, Rudra 130s, right? Any of that stuff is excellent on the 6.6 Medium Plus. It's just got enough power, but it's still short enough and it's accurate enough to where you can fish this all day without wearing yourself out. Now, another cool thing with all the Valkyries is all the grips are extendable. So you can literally make this as long or as short as you need to make it comfortable for your style of twitching, or if you need to lengthen it for, longer casts out in open water, you can, which is nice. You can balance it more to your hand based on the reel. So a lot of customization you can do. But this one, if you guys are throwing any of these larger jerk baits, this one is super amazing. All right, and then finally in the line is another Valkyrie that gets overlooked a lot. And this is an amazing rod that, once guys use this rod, this is a super versatile stick. And this is the 6.9 Medium Plus. So again, 1/4 to 3/4 lure rating, almost identical to the 6.6 Medium Plus we just talked about, but the extra 3 inches on this are all at the tip, so you get a much softer rod. They're gonna bend deep through the middle, kind of like a crankbait rod, but they get fast and strong because of that carbon composite. This one is amazing at throwing the smaller jerkbait stuff. So if you guys are throwing juniors, Junior +1s, even below that, X80 trick darters, X Nanahands, any of that smaller size jerkbait, this real soft tip up here that you get in those extra 3 inches really allow those lighter baits to load and cast with great ease, accuracy. You can throw them all day. This is also an excellent rod to use for like smaller crankbaits. So if you're looking for a rod for throwing smaller jerkbaits and maybe like a flat side crankbait or a little griffin or something like that, this is an excellent rod for that because of that soft tip. It can really load those 1/4 ounce baits great. Iba iShad is sick on this. Any of that 1/4, 3/8 ounce stuff really shines on the 6.9 medium plus. All right guys, so that is my breakdown. That's really where these rods shine. I hope that was useful. Jeff, you and CJ want to take these out and go throw a jerkbait around and see how they work?
Jerkbait fish. Give me that.
All right, there you go. All right, take it away from here. Until next time, peace.
Hello everyone at home. Thanks for clicking on another video. CJ here with a hookup tackle, joined by the man, crazy bass fisher, Jeffrey the King. What's up, Jeff? How we doing?
We're out on a mysterious lake today, aren't we?
Mysterious lake out here in the mountains, trying to catch a fish on a jerkbait here. So today's video, we're gonna be showcasing some of our favorite jerkbait rods in the shop. Today's goal is just to catch fish on these rods. I think it's gonna be a great day. We've got great conditions. The fish should be chewing. Let's go catch some fish. I'm excited for this, Jeff.
A night and day difference on that rod, isn't it?
Oh, big difference.
Like you actually like throwing a jerkbait on that rod.
All right, everybody, another fish there. Vision OneTen +1 and Stain Reaction OB on the 110 stick. So far, first impressions of these rods, there's definitely, in my opinion, a big difference fishing the, yeah, let's let him go, huh? Oh, nice little guy. Thanks for taking part in our video today, buddy. Oh, he's gone. All right. So in my opinion, there's a big difference from fishing the 110 stick from these other rods here. I've been throwing the Valkyries a lot. What I like about the Valkyries is they really load up when you make a long cast, and they're nice and soft, so when you're playing a fish with those tiny hooks, I feel a little more confident. The 110 stick's a little faster. I feel like I have tons of control over the jerkbait. With this rod, it feels better in the hand. I feel like my twitches, I'm getting more snap out of them. So overall, I think the 110 stick is the rod to be throwing a jerkbait. But the Valkyries are a great option too. Like I said, they're nice and soft, so they load up, and I'm getting a nice long cast. So if you're fishing in open water situations, that might not be a bad choice, and you have that option to shrink the butt end to pitch around if you need to. So definitely a more versatile rod, I would say, but a lot of control and sensitivity out of this one. But 2 fish on the day. See if we can catch some more. Taken?
Okay, there's a nice fish. Let's get this guy out of here.
Beauty.
Thanks, buddy. Biggin. That's a good one, son. That's a good. You need a net.
I need a net for this one.
You need a net. That's a good one. That's a 10-pounder.
Hey, get off my spot. All right, guys, here we go. Our final fish of the day came on that 110 stick, 110 +1 and Stain Reaction OB. That color has been doing the work, so we're gonna let this little guy go. Get him back in the water. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video and tagging along. If you like this style of video, let us know. If you want to know more about these rods, feel free to contact us. We're gonna have everything linked in the description below. Jeffrey? Jeff.
Yes, sir. I'll
Jeffrey the
link it
King.
all down there.
And we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.